Hurricane Ida hurled all this debris at Mark Matranga's home in Raceland and tore off a portion of the front of his house.
I'm actually retired from the sheriff's office, so I've been through Katrina and Gustav and all that, but this has really been the worst.
The hardware store across the street could not withstand the storm's driving wind. It sent parts of that store to Matranga's home. He's lived here 32 years, and like thousands of other people in Lafourche Parish, Matranga is just beginning to figure out what to do next.
We're from South Louisiana. We're overcome and adapt, and that's what we're doing right now. Everybody's pulling together and working together and just waiting for the next move.
Where do you start? Where do you start first? I mean, this is all the way up from public officials all the way down to us on the ground. But this right here is where we start. Families helping families.
Charlie Dalgo is the chaplain at VFW Post 3665 in Raceland, which took a punch from the hurricane. Today, fellow veterans delivered some much-needed gas to the post. Just as they once served their country, James Prestonbeck says the men and women of his post are now preparing to serve by responding to this disaster.
We're okay right now. Our goal is to take care of our veterans and our community right now.
This is the auxiliary building to the VFW post nearby. The Prestonbecks were initially going to ride out the storm here. As you can see, they made the right decision in changing their mind.
It was a smaller building, and it was a brick building. You know, we wasn't sure what this one was made of, so we were going to stay there in case we needed to run a generator or something. And he was like, nah, you know what, I'm just not trusting it, you know, so we came here.
Angela Prestonbeck captured video of a roof blowing into the flagpole in front of the post and then slamming into the auxiliary building.
Something just told me to come to the big building, you know. I'm glad we did.
There is destruction, but not defeat. The flags at Mark Matranga's home and the one at the VFW are meant to be reminders of that.
Thanh, Troung joining me live now in Houma. It seems like the area is really patchy down there.
It is patchy, and what we're trying to do when we go out and you're seeing it here is that we try to find places that are reflective and representative of the hurricane's power, but we're also trying to find people that are representative of the region. And we heard from Mark Matranga there, and also the Prestonbecks. And I think for all intents and purposes down here, the people down along the bayou are just salt of the earth. They're just hardworking people. And the images of them raising the American flag today, I think, represent very well what this region is about. They're proud Americans, but they're also proud to be from the bayou.
Absolutely. They are so wonderful to talk to. They love to talk, people in this area, and it's so nice to just have conversations with them because you still have that bayou feel, you know? They're still the same people, they're just dealing with something that's really terrible, and I think that they're concerned that people are going to forget about them.
Yeah, and I think there's been sort of just because there's a flip-flop of a situation. I think during Hurricane Katrina, New Orleans got so much of the attention because, and really so much of the effects of the hurricane. I think it's flip-flop this time. I think that southwest of Louisiana or New Orleans and down in the bayou region, the river parishes, they're really hurting. And it's just as the traffic was indicating today, we couldn't even get down to South Lafourche because of the traffic and the amount of people that were affected and the damage that was inflicted on there. And I think that story is going to be unfolding as we keep progressing through the recovery here.
I was talking with State Representative Jerome Troung from this area a little while ago, and he was saying that the traffic's a real issue. It's an issue for emergency crews as well because it's difficult to get around.
Yeah, and that's going to be a tough challenge as people are coming back. And keep in mind, this is a time where people were evacuated and are just coming back. And I believe down also in Grand Isle, this is the one day they could kind of take a peek and then leave. But as we have the evacuees coming back and as people get word of power returning, they're going to want to come back naturally. And that's going to be a challenging issue for all of us at this point as to how do we navigate these roads, especially when you're dealing with areas down in the bayou where it's only Highway 1, it's a 2-lane road going back and forth, and if something happens, it's going to be a backup. And we really have to be careful as we're kind of returning back to, I don't think it's going to be normal, but whatever is on the backside of this recovery.
This really gets worse the further south you go, the farther south that you go. Can you describe that a little bit for people about the level of devastation? You know, even here in Houma, it's bad.
It is bad, and what we saw in Raceland was that, you know, near areas of a canal, so to speak, there'll be one street that it looks like it took the brunt of the storm, and as the wind kind of moved further along the street, it lessened. And I think that that's the same story as you're going to see as you move down to further, you know, South Lafourche, Port Fourchon, those areas, is that the storm just really swept through that entire area. And as you go down further south, you're going to see more of the devastation, more of the destruction. But on the flip side too, what we're also seeing is that there's more resilience from the people there, because those are battle-hardened people who live in Port Fourchon or work in Port Fourchon, Grand Isle, Golden Meadow, those areas there. They know it, there's flood protection there. This one was just a wind event. It was such a large wind event. That's something many people fear, the traditional hurricane, and we got that, and they certainly got it down here.
Yeah, I mean, each hurricane is different in how it presents, and I think that this one is different, and it's not something that they're really used to. Usually we're dealing with floodwater, and people know that their sheetrock's going to be messed up and things like that, but now we're looking at roofs and stuff, that are ripped off, and so it's a different challenge. But
yeah, and it's widespread. It's widespread, that wind damage. It is a testament to the power of Hurricane Ida, just how much impact and the breadth of impact.
Okay, Thanh, thank you so much.